Okay, in this tutorial, we're going to learn how to create a watermark on an image that can be used for online proofing. The beauty of this is we're going to create an action, and it doesn't matter the orientation of your images. They can be horizontal or vertical, darker images, lighter images. It doesn't matter. It's just going to plain work. And there's two things that you're going to need before we get started. You're going to need a logo saved in a way that it's on a transparent background, so it can be an EPS file, a PSD file, PNG, doesn't matter, just as long as it's your logo on a transparent background. And then you're also going to need to install a script in Photoshop. If you follow the address I have here at the bottom of the screen, it'll take you to a blog. Julianne Costs was kind enough to add the script on her blog to download, and then there's a nice set of instructions on how to install it in Photoshop if you need help doing that. And once you do, you can come up to File and then down in your scripts, and you'll see it's added right there. So after you've installed the script, you'll need to relaunch Photoshop, and you'll see it right here. Okay, another thing that you'll need to do is, in order to really make this action work, we're going to need to do it on a horizontal image to start with. The reason is to get the bar to place across the horizontal. It just works better if you start with one, and then it will automatically work with the verticals. So in order to do that, let's go ahead and open up a horizontal image. I'm just going to go ahead and go to my desktop here. I've created a folder of full-size images. These are full-res images that I've exported out of Lightroom for the purpose of this proof demonstration. So we'll go ahead and open this up and minimize this just a little bit. Alright, so now that we have an image opened up that we can start working with, what we're going to do next is we're going to start creating an action. If you've never created an action before, it's very simple. Down here on the action panel, you'll have a folder icon. If you click on that, it's going to allow you to create a folder that your action is going to go into. So we'll just call this proof. We'll click OK. And then over here, if you hold the mouse over that, this is to create a new action. So if you click that icon, it's going to pull up the new action box, and we will call this sample proof. No need to really set any of this, these other items right now. I'll show you why later on, because we're going to actually turn this into a droplet. So we're just going to hit record. Now you'll notice that the red record button is on. Basically, anytime you see this button, it is recording every mouse click that you make. It's recording it into the action so it can be replayed later on. Alright, so the first step, we want to make our bar. So to do that, well, actually, before we do the bar, let's say I exported JPEGs, but let's say you're working with a layered PSD file or some other file type. It might be better for you to put a starting point to flatten your image. So if you go up here to insert menu item, we'll go to layer, and we'll say flatten, and then we'll click OK, and that will first flatten the image before we do anything else. And then because we're going to be using these on our website as online proofing, we need to size the image. So I've found for my site that if you go into automate, fit image, 1920 by 1920 works really great for me. What this does is it constrains the image within that size. So basically the long edge will be sized to 1920, and then the short edge will be in perspective to that. We'll go ahead and click OK, and now our image is sized. And we'll zoom on in here so we can get a little closer. Okay, now we are ready for that box. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer. And this is just a blank layer. And then we're going to get our Marquee tool. If you hit the D key on your keyboard, that'll set your back to default, just in case you have different colors in your palette there. Once you're back to default, we'll go ahead and switch that over to white. We're going to draw out our marquee box. It doesn't matter where you draw this on your image, because we will place it next. So something sort of like that. And then we're going to come up and we're going to fill that image with white, like that. And then we'll deselect our marquee. And we're going to go ahead and drop the opacity of that layer down to about 75%. Alright, now that that's done, we need to place this image. If you hold Control on a PC or a Mac, just like that, and Control click on both layers, they'll both be selected. Then you can go into your Move tool, and you have your alignment tools right here. What we're going to first do is align it to the bottom, just like that. And then we're just going to click on our layer that has the bar on it, just like that. The reason why we're doing this is we want to just move that bar and not our background layer. You'll notice I like to have a little bit of space on the bottom. You can choose not to do that, it's up to you, but I prefer to have a little space. In order to do that, I'm going to nudge it with the arrow keys. I found that it actually works a lot better if you use the arrow keys when writing an action, because it tells Photoshop an exact number of clicks to space things, and I find that when you're working with an action that you're going to be using both horizontal and vertical, it just works a lot better if you do it with the arrow keys. Now that we have our bar placed, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place our logo. So this is our logo right here. We're going to go ahead and place that so it fits nicely on our bar here in the right hand corner. In order to place your logo, I suggest when you create your logo and you save it, you save a copy of it somewhere on your computer that it can't accidentally get deleted, perhaps in like the Photoshop presets folder. That's a great place to put it, so your action knows where to find it, but you aren't going to accidentally delete it later on. So we're going to go ahead and click on File and Place Embedded. Once we click on that, now for the purposes of this tutorial, I've put the logo on my desktop. So that's the logo, and we're going to go ahead and click Place. You'll notice that the logo imports in as a smart layer, a smart object. We can go ahead and shift, click, and drag the corner to kind of size it, and we can go ahead and move it down to our bar here so we can make sure it fits just right. So that looks like a good size to me. I'm going to go ahead and click the little checkbox up here, and that'll lock that size in place for me. It is a smart object, so if you decide that you don't like it, you can always adjust and change from there. But now that I've got the size the way I want it, now we're going to go ahead and deal with the placement of that logo. So like we did with the bar, we're going to go ahead and Control click on the background while our logo layer is highlighted. With both of them highlighted, we can come up to our adjustment or our alignment tools. We're going to go ahead and align that all the way to the bottom, and then we're going to align it all the way to the right, and just like that. Now we're going to click on just our logo tool, or layer, I'm sorry, and then we're going to use our arrow keys once again with the Move tool to just nudge this up and place it exactly where we want it. So something like that, and then we'll give it some space from the side. So there we go. Now our logo is in place. The next step is we need to create our proof with the file name. Now the action script that you downloaded and installed, all it's going to do is it's going to put the file name on the image. I like to indicate that it's a proof or an image number, so we'll do that with text ahead of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my text tool. I'm going to click down here somewhere, and using the same font that the script comes in, we're going to just kind of come down here, and we're going to go ahead and click that. And we're going to set our size to somewhere around 12 and see how that looks. We're going to go ahead and type proof and number. Okay, and that's it. That's all we need to do. I'm going to go ahead and click the checkbox. I'd prefer that to be black, so I'm going to go ahead and change my color down to black. Size is fine, and we're going to go ahead and drop the opacity of that down to about 75 again. All right. So now that we've got that in, we're going to go ahead and do the alignment for this as well. Same as the earlier steps, we're going to control click on that background, select our move tool, and now we have our alignment tools up here. We're going to align it to the bottom, and this time we're going to align it to the left. So there we go. We're going to click on our proof layer. Using the move tool, we're going to go ahead and nudge that up with the arrow keys to where we feel we're about center, and then we're going to go ahead and nudge that over to the right to kind of give ourselves some space. Trying to be careful to make it about as equal distance. You can use guidelines if you want to be real precise about it, but something like that, that looks good to me. And now we're all set there. The next step is going to be to place the unique file name. So in order to do this, we're going to go ahead and run that script that you downloaded and installed. So if we go to File, Script, and then Add File Name 20 point, we'll click on that, and you'll notice that it adds the script right there. Now, we've decided to go with a different size font, so what we're going to do, we want to make sure that the font's the same. So down here, our proof number was 12 point font, so we're going to go ahead and select 12 point font for our title there, and then we're also going to drop the opacity to the same opacity, which was right around 75. Okay, and I notice every time I say 75 it actually goes to 76. Ignore that. We will go ahead and, now that we have this place, go ahead and align it like we have been before. Select the file name and the background, control click using the move tool. We can go ahead and align that to the bottom and then align that all the way over to the left. Now with just the file name layer selected and the move tool, we can use our arrow keys once again to bring this up and then bring it over to the right so that it nicely follows our number sign. So something like that. And that right there is all there is to it. We'll have the action that will set up our logo and put our unique proof number on each and every image. The next step will be to flatten the image. So we'll go ahead and go up to Layer and Flatten. And that's it. We're done. So once we're done with our action, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit the stop button right here. And now that stops the action from recording. And you can see these are all the steps that we made to create this proof sheet. To see if it works, to kind of test your proof sheet, there's two ways you can do it. The easiest way is just to click up into the history box here, scroll all the way up to your original file and click it, and you'll notice that the file got large. Then go down and select your proof, sample proof action that you just made, and hit the play button. And by doing that, it will run through all those steps and you are left with a perfect placed bar and proof. So another thing you can do is we can go back into our folder of full-size images, and we'll go ahead and just grab one of these vertical images just like so. And again, this is a full res image. We'll go ahead and hit that sample proof and we'll hit play. And we'll go ahead and zoom into this a little bit so you can see that yes indeed, the logo and the proof placement is perfect on the bar. Okay, so now we know that everything is working. We can go ahead and close down all of our images without saving. And we'll go ahead and close out these. All right, so the next step is we want to create a droplet for this. So while having the action that we just made highlighted, just like that by selecting. We're going to go up to File, down to Automate, Create Droplet. All right, save droplet in. You can choose, a droplet folder or whatever. I like to put them on my desktop, so I'm just going to go ahead and have the desktop selected. This just says that we're choosing the action from the proof set, sample proof, which is correct. And then this is where it allows us to create a destination. This is really important. So on my desktop, I created another folder called Finished Proofs. And I'm telling it basically that when I run this action, I want it to open up my full res images, save them as proofs, and put them in a different folder. That way I still have my full res JPEGs that are untouched. So we'll go ahead and click OK, just like that, and we'll go ahead and minimize Photoshop here. And we can see on our desktop that we now have a droplet called Sample Proof. All right, now this is the beauty of it. We have our folder full of full res photos. I'm just going to take that folder, and we'll go ahead and open up our finished proof folder so you can see. I'm going to take that entire folder. Now you can do this with a folder, or you can do this with a single image. It doesn't matter. But it's nice that you can take and drag and drop that entire folder on top of that. It will automatically launch Photoshop and run the action for you. Now, every time it's going to come up with this JPEG option, which, I leave it up the highest quality, and then you hit the enter key. If you are running a lot of proofs, you can put a clip on that enter key, just like a paper clip or an alligator clip or something heavy to hold that key down. And just like you see right now, it's just going to go ahead and run all the way through those actions. All right, that's completed. We'll go ahead and minimize out of Photoshop again, and we look in our finished proof folder, and you can see that all of our images now have the proof. And you'll notice that 742, 742, each proof has its own unique image number. And there you go. There you have it. That's how you do it. And now you can just take these proofs and upload them to your website and share them with your clients. I hope this tutorial's been helpful to you, and thanks for watching.